Do you ever feel trapped in looping realities where no matter what you are doing, you just keep experiencing more of the same? The same income ceilings, the same challenges, the same you. In this video, you will discover the missing piece of your puzzle so that you not only break through, but you become the most prosperous, the most magnetic and successful version of yourself. This is about never pushing against reality again. This is about never getting stuck again and starting to access your highest potential right now. This practice that I'm about to share is what's taking my clients from overwhelm, self-doubt, hiding, perfectionism to becoming unstoppable within weeks. So let's get into it. The mirror principle is something that everyone believes that knows because it's simple to understand, but it's not that easy to start applying and work with. So we all know that everything around us, all our reality is just a reflection of who we are. Everything around reflects who we are with all our beliefs and emotions and personality. Neville Goddard said there's nothing to change but yourself. And this simply means that the mirror will never smile first. It's always us that are showing the mirror what we get then to see as a reflection. So this is easy, or at least this is what we believe. It's easy to understand, we all get it, blah, blah, blah. But how do we actually use this in a way that powerfully and permanently starts shifting and elevating our reality? And this is exactly what we are gonna cover in this video. We'll talk about the 3 key rules for how the mirror principle actually works, so that you know and start using them, and the 4 essential practices for you to start jumping into higher timelines, higher realities by using the mirror principle. So stay until the end because I'm gonna share with you practical things, practical shifts, practical steps that you can start using in your business, in your life as of today in order to start jumping timelines and start accessing your highest potential as of today. So let's start with the 3 key rules around how the mirror principle actually works. The first rule is that the mirror always reflects back our emotional attitude. And when I say emotional attitude, that is literally the unit between all our thoughts and our emotions, which means that when we hold emotions for long enough, they become states. When the states are being held for long enough, they become moods. And when the moods are held for long enough, they become our personality. They become our attitude towards business, towards life, towards relationship, towards who we are. And that personality, that emotional attitude is what is being reflected back by the mirror. We don't manifest what we want, we manifest who we are. And that's the reason the mirror only reflects our emotional beingness. The important part here is to understand that once we start shifting the way we feel on a consistent basis, then that will create a shift in the reflection we see in the mirror, in the reality. So this is the first principle, right? The mirror only reflects our emotional attitude. So not our wishes, not our strong thoughts, not our affirmations, the emotional attitude, our personality. The second rule is that the mirror operates with a delay, which simply means that when you create a certain emotional attitude, that is the desired emotional attitude, you have to hold it before you start seeing it reflected. And the time delay always depends on, first, the complexity of the goal, the complexity of what we are creating, our desire, and secondly, on the resistance we have around receiving that desire. Which means that if the goal we are moving towards is very different from what we currently have in our reality, then it might take longer time. The delay might be longer. We need to hold our emotional attitude for a longer time before we see the results, before we see the reflection in the mirror, in the outside reality. But sometimes that cannot be the case if the resistance is very low. So let's say that you desire a beautiful exotic vacation and it's so expensive compared to your finances right now, but you still have this desire, but you have no attachment to it. And all of a sudden, because there is no resistance, there is no friction, you receive that vacation. Maybe a big chunk of money lands into your account, the exact same chunk of money that would be required, necessary for that vacation, or someone invites you, or you win that trip, that vacation somehow. What is really important to take from here is that when there is a time lag between the changes you do inside yourself and what you feel that you are receiving, what you see yourself receiving, that is not an indication that what you want is not available or things are not happening, things are not moving. Things are moving in the invisible. Progress is being made beyond the veil of the visible. It's just that you need to keep on going. You need to keep on holding the new emotional attitude that you started to create for yourself, that you started stepping into. And eventually, the reality catches up. Now, the third rule, and this is absolutely essential. The reflection of the mirror is being shaped by the unity between your mind and your heart. And this simply means that if there is a dissonance between what we say we want and what we actually feel, then that creates a very blurred image we show to the mirror. So obviously the reflection will be not really what we want, will not be the reflection that we are desiring. And here's what stops 99% of the people from manifesting what they want and keeps them stuck in looping realities. They say, I want to grow a prosperous business. I am so ready to receive more money. I am ready for higher level clients. I want to have financial freedom in my business, in my life. But they say all this while they actually feel lack, frustration, scarcity, overwhelm, anger, anxiety, because while they say what they say, inside themselves they focus on what they don't want. I hate how hard business is. I hate how hard money is. I don't like the clients that I am working with today. I am so far behind. I'm feeling so frustrated. This is so tiring. I am so tired of struggle. What am I missing? What the F am I missing? So you see, the biggest trap when it comes to keeping ourselves stuck in looping realities is that we say we want what we want, but we feel what we don't want. We say we want what we want, but we feel what we don't want. So the dissonance between what our mind says and what our heart feels creates that blurred image that we are showing to the mirror. So there is no wonder then that what we are being shown back as a reflection is a distorted image of what we actually want. So we have to align the way we feel with the way we think, what we say we want, and that's when we send out a very clear, potent signal, a clear, potent image that the mirror cannot but reflect back. And we will share exactly what are the steps, what are the practical shifts that you need to make in order to start beaming out that potent mirror. Okay, so before we dive into the 4 essential practices to jump into higher timelines by using the mirror principles, we need to first understand the mirror cycle. So imagine these 3 bubbles. The first one is the observation of the reflection. The second bubble is the creation of the image, creation of the emotional attitude that we are showing to the mirror. And then the third bubble is the reflection of that image. Now, most people are starting the mirror cycle in the first bubble, which is the observation of the image. We look at the reality around, we look at the circumstances, we look at what we see, and then that informs, defines our emotional attitude. This cycle is what keeps 99% of the people stuck inside looping experiences, and they feel like they are doing everything, but actually they are doing one thing that is essentially wrong. They let themselves feel based on what they see, and then they put that image in front of the mirror, and then they notice again what they see, and that keeps them in the loop. Now, here's a better way. Here's how we are breaking the cycle. Instead of starting in observing the reflection, we start in defining the emotional attitude. We go within, we go inside ourselves and decide, who do I choose to be? What are the emotions that I'm gonna live by? What are the states I'm gonna live by? What are the truths I'm gonna live by? And then start brainwashing and body washing ourselves with those thoughts, those emotions, until they start sinking in, they start becoming who we are. The more we hold that image to the mirror, the more the image will be reflected by the mirror back, and then we will be observing, oh my God, there are changes, there are new things that are happening in the reality that are aligned with what I created inside myself, and that starts boosting our power. But the power has to be non-circumstantial in the beginning. In the end, it can be that the circumstances start supporting our power and amplifying our power, but when we are taking off, we need to master that power from the inside. We need to define that emotional attitude first inside ourselves and hold it for long enough so that it starts being reflected by the mirror. The moment we choose a different emotional attitude for ourselves, we need to break free from everything that was before in terms of personality, emotional habits. Imagine like this, it's like you were operating on a timeline, on a lifeline, and you are jumping by your decision to a completely different lifeline. So who you used to be is not who you start being anymore through your decision. It's two different versions of yourself. Think about yourself today, who you are, what you do, what you know for sure inside yourself, and now think about a version of you you left behind 10 years ago. Do you feel yourself to be the same person? Most probably not. It feels like she is a completely different person from who you are today, because you are not the same anymore. It's two different versions of yourself, one that you left behind and the one that you are today. That's exactly what we do when we intentionally close old identities. We jump from one lifeline to another lifeline. On this new lifeline, the old personality, the old emotional attitudes are not existing. You decide that what you left behind is irrelevant. Decide that you are now stepping into being a successful entrepreneur, a prosperous entrepreneur, a person that is irresistibly magnetic and that is being held and supported and carried by invisible forces, and good things are happening to you, and money starts flowing to you, and clients are being drawn to you, and opportunities are being irresistibly attracted to you, and all you had before, all the misfortunes are irrelevant right now because they were the result of being someone else that you are not anymore today. I remember reading not so long ago about how the ex-wife of Elon Musk was saying that there is Elon's reality and we are all living it. And it really stayed with me because this is a reminder of how successful people, I'm not saying that I am a fan of Elon Musk because I am not, but I am fascinated by strong, big personalities and how they got to create the realities in which they are living. And the truth is that the big personalities, big energies are so convicted within themselves. They live so much inside their own reality that has nothing to do at times with the outside reality, that the outside reality starts being bent and meets their own reality. So we are here speaking about creating a big, strong, potent sense of inner reality, that you are starting to live with so much conviction, being always on your own lane, looking always at what you want, where you are going, who you are becoming, what you are choosing to feel right now, that then that sense of reality becomes so compelling, so powerful, that starts bending everything around, that starts being reflected by the mirror, because the mirror has no freaking other way but to reflect what is being shown. So that is what this principle is all about. Now, here are the 4 essential practices that will be helping you not only break out of looping realities, but start accessing higher and higher timelines. The first practice is to give yourself the time, space, and clarity around what is the emotional attitude that you are now stepping into, and start holding to the mirror. Decide who you are, decide what you feel, decide what reality works like for you, decide what is available for you right now, decide who you feel yourself to be, decide, I'm a successful, prosperous entrepreneur. People are being drawn into my world, they are guided by invisible forces. People love buying from me, people love paying, people love walking with me because they are creating so big transformation. I receive money with so much ease. I am so grateful to feel so peaceful, calm, and solid within myself. I'm so grateful for how successful I feel inside myself. I love this life and this business that lets me express myself and create so much freedom. I love the ease that things are happening with for me. You see, it's really about deciding what is the emotional attitude, and this means what are the new beliefs, what are the new thoughts, what are the new truths that you are choosing for yourself, but more importantly than that, what are the emotions that those thoughts, those truths, those beliefs are coming with. Now, the second practice is to master broadcasting the image. So you are creating this emotional attitude that you are placing in front of the mirror, but it's really important to master the way you are holding it in front of the mirror, which means that if you are thinking about what you want, but at the same time you focus mostly on what you don't want, what you don't have, what you don't know, what are the problem, how it's not working, then it's irrelevant that you consciously are choosing different realities. You are consciously choosing desires to manifest, because you will be manifesting what you feel, as we were saying. So it's important to always remind yourself that instead of focusing on what you don't want, what you don't have, what you don't know, focus on what you do have, what you do want, what you want to feel like. Every time you feel the wobble, every time you feel there are all doubts, there are all frustrations, there is spinning that is coming through, go and pivot. It's about self-consciousness. If we are not turning the unconscious into conscious, so we are not shedding light on the unconscious sabotage behaviors, then they will be driving our life, and we will be calling that fate, we will be calling that destiny that is against us. We need to take responsibility, and the way we take responsibility is by paying attention. How do I feel? How do I feel in my body? The way we feel in our body is the biggest indication around how we feel and what we are beaming out. So if we feel constriction, if we feel tightness, if we feel unpleasant feelings inside our body, that's the moment to observe them and pivot back to what do I actually want? What do I know? What do I have? How can I move forward? The third practice is to take every setback that you see that is being reflected to you as a blessing. And this is another way to say, never let the reflection to change your image that you are placing in front of the mirror. It's really about going back to understanding that the cycle should always start to what you decide inside yourself. what you choose for yourself and not as a reaction to what is. So we don't want to react ever. We want to create. We create when we let whatever it is aside and we decide who we choose to be and how we choose to feel now, and hold that image in front of the mirror. And a simple way or an easier way to do that is to find a silver lining. Like, this didn't go well, this launch didn't go well because I had to learn this thing that I haven't thought about until now, or because there is a better, easier way and it's pushing me towards the way that is more aligned for me to launch this program live. Or I couldn't work with that client because there are 5 new clients that are more aligned clients that are in line for me to receive in my world right now. So it's really about reframing whatever the reflection is, not allowing it to affect the image, and always lead with what we choose for ourselves. The 4th practice is lead with both your heart and your mind. And I'm gonna enter here a little bit into quantum jumping and timeline shifting, and I think you'll love this part. One big realization was that we need both the power of our heart and the power of our mind. The power of our heart is what creates the quantum jumping. It's what helps us jump from one lifeline to a higher, different lifeline. It's the thing that bends, basically, the quantum bends reality for us. That's what the heart power does for us. But then there is the mind power that is pushing us forward on a certain lifeline, on a certain timeline. In other words, we have the heart power that is switching train tracks, and then we have the mind power that is pushing forward, is the locomotive that is pushing the train forward. We need both. We need the heart, which is the emotions, the feeling that is bending reality, and we also need the mind, which is the thoughts and the actions, the way we start moving physically things into existence. If we go and lean exclusively into the mind, we'll stay on the same timeline, because the mind cannot help us jump timelines. It's just pushing more into the same timeline, and it takes us that far. The more we start forcing things into existence, the more frustrated we'll be getting. Like, we'll get some results, but they will never be exactly the results we want, and eventually it will not be satisfying because it will come with burnout. But when we use the heart power, then that's when magic happens. We literally start shifting timelines, as we were saying. We move from a lifeline to another lifeline, where then the brain, the mind, with the thoughts and the actions can move us forward. So it's really the balance between the feminine, which is the heart, the emotions, and the masculine, which is the thoughts, the action, putting things into motion. And we need the mix of that. It's really important to always lead with both the heart and the mind, because that's where the coherence and that's where the magic is happening. Okay, now I want to invite you for a game. This is something new I haven't done before, but I am challenging you to write down in the comments 3 new truths that you are choosing for yourself in order to start defining a new, higher emotional attitude for yourself. You don't have to go overboard, just 3 new truths about who you are, how the reality starts working for you, what you are expecting things to work out like for you, or whatever you are choosing. 3 new truths that will be the base of your new emotional attitude. Write them below and let's support each other. The more we are being witnessed by other people, the more this wave starts building up and starts impacting more and more people. So I would love to hear and read in the comments your 3 new truths that will be defining your new emotional attitude. Now, if you are a spiritual entrepreneur and desire my help, support in any way, shape, or form, I'm gonna leave in the description the ways in which we can work together. If you enjoyed this video, please comment, like, and subscribe. And if you want to get even deeper into how you shift into higher timelines, watch this video here.